a disturbing story about Arizona's criminal justice system and the glaring gaps that happened to one man who was arrested not once, not twice, but 3 times for the same 2 murders. We first showed you the exclusive I-Team investigation last night on 12 News at 6. So here's just a portion of that story. And we want to warn you, some of the images and details might be tough to watch. And then stay with us afterwards, because I'll have 12 News journalist Erica Stapleton with me to talk about what's being done now.
Justice isn't always a straight line.
He should be punished.
Sometimes it's delayed.
Hoping and praying for the best.
Sometimes it's denied.
Very frustrating.
But in this double murder case,
we're just going in circles.
Justice is stuck.
Feels like they don't know what to do with the case, or they just don't want to deal with the case.
As Michelle Rubio waits here, the man accused of killing her brother waits in jail after he was arrested for the crime a 3rd time.
He didn't deserve to get his life taken away the way it was.
To Michelle, Danny Rubio was the ultimate big brother.
He looked out for his little sisters.
Very much. He would always come to me and my sisters, and he would be like, "Do you guys want some pizza?" And we'll stay up, late at night, just eating pizza, joking around, laughing. Like, I miss those moments.
But on July 5th, 2020, he was trying to get home near 36th Street in Thomas, and he never made it inside.
He didn't deserve this.
Stabbed to death in his own neighborhood. Phoenix police say witnesses pointed them straight to a suspect.
He was very known within our neighborhood.
A man found sleeping in a nearby alley, blood on his belongings, knives strapped to his body.
We know that his name is Major.
Major Mackenzie, arrested on the spot.
And he's always been very aggressive within the area. So when all of this kind of unfolded, it was so shocking and traumatic, but the behavior wasn't shocking from this specific individual.
With kids in her home, Chelsea Friday worried about Major Mackenzie on their block.
We know that he struggled with homelessness. He's squatted in a lot of the empty houses.
Danny's body was found in Chelsea's front yard. She thinks Danny might have been trying to get Major Mackenzie off of her property when he was killed.
We could never pay the Rubio family back.
But Major Mackenzie told police he thought he could have been robbed and that he would kill anyone who tried to do that. Police said his comments were sporadic, and as police went through his belongings, another troubling discovery. He'd been carrying the picture of a different dead man, a silent witness flyer for Juan Martinez, who was killed just a few weeks before Danny in the exact same neighborhood. And ultimately, Major Mackenzie was charged with both Juan and Danny's murders.
And Erica joins me right now for the backstory. Erica, that was just the beginning. We all know that there are problems in the mental health care system. But what struck me was the fact that there was a communication problem, that Major's own family didn't even know when he was in and out of the care facilities.
No, and that's a sad breakdown that we uncovered in our reporting. We were able to speak with Major Mackenzie's sister. They said, we didn't know where he was leading up to these events, and what we were able to find in court records and looking at the police file was that he had a serious mental illness, and he was supposed to be being monitored in the weeks leading up to the murders, but he just wasn't, and he was released out onto the streets instead. And that sort of breakdown is something we hear from a lot of families who have a loved one with a serious mental illness, and as his sister put it, it sometimes turns into a revolving door, and there really needs to be changes in care to avoid outcomes like this.
Yeah, definitely. He is not the only one with an extensive history of mental illness. You know, it's interesting because his competency was called into question multiple times.
Yeah, so as we get into our story, you'll learn that the case goes through court a few times, and in the first 2 times this case goes to court, he was found incompetent. And that means the state made a decision. They said, hey, we want to force him to take medication to try and restore him to competency so we can continue on with this case. They put in that request to the judge, but ultimately the judge has to consider what is the least intrusive option. That comes down from a Supreme Court decision. So ultimately in this case in Arizona, what the judge determined is that he could release, dismiss the charges and then send Major Mackenzie to a mental health care facility, in this case Valleywise, for a psychiatric evaluation. And that's where the cycle continues.
Yeah, and I know that his, defense attorneys, they kept arguing that he didn't want to be on these drugs. He didn't like the way it felt for him. So the bottom line is, what is his status right now?
Well, the case is now in its third lap through the court system. So he's been arrested again. He's facing those same 2 murder charges. He's pleaded not guilty, has not been convicted. But what's different this time, he has a new attorney for this third case. And as of right now, there haven't been any of those filings to check his competency. So as it stands right now, the case could be moving forward toward a trial as soon as April. But of course, a lot could change, especially with history like this.
Yeah, no kidding. So what are you working on for tonight?
Well, we did take this case to County Attorney Rachel Mitchell, asking her, is it possible for this to just keep going in circles forever?
It's a vicious cycle.
Exactly. And we're also looking at those gaps in care and what changes might help some of those and the push on the legislature.
Yeah, okay. We look forward to seeing that later on at 6 o'clock. Erica, thank you.